Every day, something dramatic happens in the Caribbean that affects our lives. We'll give you the details. We'll give you the facts on Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick. Here's Eddie Frederick.
So glad you can join us. The High Court in Guyana has dismissed the APNU+AFC's elections petition. This story takes the lead in a 1102nd edition of Caribbean Perspective for Friday, 30th April 2021. Details after this break.
Did you know that your friends and family can now shop at the food fair from anywhere in the world, and you can receive here in Grenada? The food fair and GrenadaMarket.com now make it possible through secure online shopping and personalized customer service. Simply send your loved ones a list of your preferred items or let them fill an online basket, and the items will be available for pickup or delivery. Visit GrenadaMarket.com or thefoodfair.gd today for more details. The new norm. Spread the news.
Welcome back. Election Petition 88, filed in the High Court in Guyana by APNU+AFC, was dismissed by Chief Justice Roxanne George on Monday. The details in this report from Wendell Badri of HGP Nightly News.
Petition 88, which sought to ascertain that Order 60 of 2020 is not illegal, was drafted in bad faith, and further that Section 22 of the Constitution violates the doctrine of separation of powers, especially those powers conferred on the Guyana Elections Commission, GECOM, was dismissed before the High Court on Monday by the Chief Justice, Roxanne George. Justice George stated in her ruling that GECOM acted in accordance with the Constitution and was forced to do so given that it had a mandate to remove any and all difficulties arising from the 2020 elections, while she also said that Order 60 is not invalid, nor is it illegal.
I consider and hold that Order 60, and for that matter, its enabling provision, Section 22, did not and have not usurped the jurisdiction of the High Court under Article 163 to determine whether an election was lawfully conducted.
While Justice George further explained that even though the Caribbean Court of Justice, CCJ, did not make any ruling with regard to Order 60 and Section 22, she posited that the court did seek to clarify the two and that her court would be bound by those pronouncements.
I do not consider that these pronouncements are obiter dicta. They are part of the reasoning of the CCJ in its consideration of the David case. As such, these pronouncements are binding on this court. As I ruled in Masinga Jones, the CCJ had in fact accepted that Order 60 was required to resolve the political impasse and provide a transparent method for a national recount so as to complete the election process.
Meanwhile, in a written statement following the ruling by the Chief Justice, the leader of the opposition, Joseph Harmon, described the decision as, and I quote, a clear attempt to protect the installed PPP regime from scrutiny and from being removed from government where they have no right being, end quote. Harmon said that he is extremely disappointed by the ruling, while also stating that he remains fortified that the hierarchy courts will correct this clear injustice which has been wrought on the Guyanese people. Petition 88 was filed at the end of August 2020, following the removal of the APNU+AFC from office that year as a result of an election which lasted for months, the result of several court battles, as well as a national recount exercise. Petition 88 alleges that GECOM overstepped its authority by drafting Order 60 of 2020, which enforced a national recount exercise. The petition also states that Section 22 of the Constitution is unconstitutional, since it confers upon GECOM an authority which originally rests in the Parliament. While the APNU+AFC has not outrightly stated whether it will be filing an appeal to the Chief Justice's ruling, in his missive, the opposition leader said, and I quote, "We must appeal this at every level until justice is delivered to us," end quote. Harmon concluded his missive by stating that the APNU+AFC cannot and will not be held responsible for the reaction of the victimized, disenfranchised, and marginalized masses. We will continue to fight, and we wish to make it clear that all options remain open to us, the leader of the opposition said. Wendell Badri, HGP Nightly News.
Meanwhile, massive investigation launched into Guy Oil as two operatives at the board and management levels dismissed. Gordon Mosley of News Source Guyana reports.
As the probe continues into a fuel import scandal at the state-owned Guyana Oil Company, President Irfan Ali has asked for the removal of the company director and the finance director who met with an importer, seeking a supply of a large quantity of heavy fuel for the company. At a press conference this morning, President Ali announced that board member Akani Blair and company secretary and finance director Sean Passad will be removed from the company because of their inappropriate contact with the importer.
The board member, Blair, and I've asked that the board member Blair be removed, and the staff, I think Sean Passad, I think. That staff will be removed because he was on probation.
The two were accused of contacting the importer at his home and seeking his services to supply more than 1 million gallons of heavy fuel. The importer Jason Aaron later complained that Guyana pulled out of the deal even after the two and others from the company offered commitments. The fuel arrived in the country but with no takers. The importer has also claimed that there were attempts by some officials of the company to seek a kickback in the fuel deal. The accusations have triggered a widespread investigation at Guyana. The Auditor General's Office, the Guyana Revenue Authority, and the Guyana Energy Agency are all conducting probes. But President Ali today said no fraud was committed at Guyana.
No fraud was committed because no transaction was entered into. That's the first thing. No fraud was committed because no transaction was entered into. But what is of great importance to us is to have a review of the system to ensure that the system is rigid and strong enough at every tier to deal with any potential from a company or an individual wanting to commit a fraud.
The president also said the Guyana general manager was asked to proceed on leave over his performance at the company, and he chose to resign while on leave. President Ali said the former general manager will remain resigned. The president said other investigations are ongoing at Guyana since there are other allegations of corruption.
In addition to this, there is an ongoing investigation with Guyana. There's an ongoing investigation with Guyana where $300 million in fuel is being investigated with the Army, where they had great mismanagement. The Auditor General had raised that. The investigation, we have an investigation ongoing also with companies collecting fuel from the terminal, and those companies had no right to be there collecting fuel in other agency name. And these are things we inherited. And those investigations are going on. Those investigations are with the police and the Auditor General at the moment.
There are several other reports in relation to Guyana that are being looked at this evening.
You're listening to Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick.
A big thank you from the Ministry of Health to the over 40,000 citizens of Trinidad and Tobago who received COVID vaccinations, but if you didn't get the jab yet, you're going to have to wait for the next shipment to make your appointment. Overshitawari Rupnarayan of TV6 News reports.
It's being described as an incredibly successful exercise. Over 41,000 persons in TNT received their first dose of the COVID vaccine. Thousands of extra doses were made available by tapping into the 10 to 15% additional liquid genius in each vial of vaccine.
We are right in the middle of that 10 to 15% overage rate, where we have vaccinated 41,802.
A few hundred doses are still outstanding and will be distributed in the Southwest Regional Health Authority and the Tobago Regional Health Authority. Minister Dayal Singh himself visited 12 vaccination sites where he says he only got good responses and commendations.
Thank you. Thank you for your response. It has been phenomenal.
And if you did not get the vaccine, well, the ministry will be making no appointments at this time.
For those wishing to make appointments for future vaccinations, COVAX has confirmed that we will be receiving another 33,600 doses in May. When we have that confirmed date and a confirmed date to start that phase, persons can then start to make their appointments. Please don't make appointments now. That is not how we are operated.
The next shipment of 33,600 vaccines from the COVAX facility is expected in May, although no invoice has been received, monies paid, or arrival date confirmed. According to the minister's count, half of the 5,000 frontline medical workers highlighted across RHAs accepted the vaccine. Another 2,500 other frontline workers were inoculated, and the majority, over 36,000 doses, went to the over 60 population with NCDs. Urvashi Tiwari Rubnarayan, TV6 News.
A police operation has resulted in the seizure of a large quantity of illegal drugs in a container belonging to a well-known business enterprise in St. Lucia. Stanley Lucian of HTS News Force has more.
It was the last thing that law enforcement expected to find in a consignment of goods to a reputable firm with a long history of trading in St. Lucia. But this is the season of surprises. Stashed away in a shipping container was a huge quantity of illicit drugs believed to be cannabis. Police, with the assistance of partner agencies like the Customs and Excise Department, made the discovery on Tuesday. Police issued a press release on the matter Wednesday afternoon, which reads in part, quote, "Units of the Royal St. Lucia Police Force conducted an operation during which time a search of a sealed goods container was initiated. The container was housed within the enclosed premises of a business in the north of the island," unquote. So, what's the value of what's believed to be one of the largest hauls of marijuana in the history of St. Lucia? Well, one would have to wait as the massive packages are being processed, that is, weighed and then valued. The storage of the huge stash of marijuana may prove to be a challenge for the force. The drug haul on Tuesday led to the Royal St. Lucia Police Force launching an investigation to get to those behind the importation of the illicit drugs. These are early days for the investigation, and so far no one has been arrested, and the name of the company at the center of it all remains under official seal for now. Stanley Lucian for the HTS News Force.
The Public Service Union in Belize says they will strike as long as needed.
When you're in a strike, Paul, there is nothing in law that stipulates that it's for 1 hour, 1 day, 24 hour, or 24 days. If it is that public officers, which includes police officers, BDF, Coast Guards, nurses, doctors, and the good folks from the Civil Aviation Authority, the lab technologists in the public sector, the people in the financial sector. If it is that these public officers have a strong conviction for good governance and understand that you cannot put a price governance, then yes, this will be a strike that we will proceed with for the long haul.
Hubbard's big promotion is back. Live free for 1 year. Spend $50 or more in any Hubbard's department and receive a chance to win big prizes every month. Property or vehicle insurance for 1 year. Free internet, cable and data for 1 year. Free fuel for 1 year. Free cooking gas for 1 year. Free electricity for 1 year. Free drinks for 1 year. Extra cash account and the big free groceries for 1 year. Promotion runs from April 1st to September 30th, 2021. Live free for 1 year with Hubbard's in association with Saw Gas, Flow, Grenadian General Insurance, Carib Brewery, Coca-Cola, Grenada Bottling Company, Grenlec, Communal Cooperative Credit Union, Dutch Lady Milk, Promo, Danny and Supreme. Terms and conditions apply.
I am Eddie Frederick, wishing you a restful weekend. This has been Caribbean Perspective, a whole new approach to highlighting developments in the Caribbean. In the meantime, please continue to log on to CaribbeanPerspective.com for more daily news and more.